Peace. Let's practice this together. Let's practice letting life be as life is. Let us practice allowing others to have thoughts of you and not letting it be a consequence to you. Let's practice such a thing as acceptance for the present moment, whatever it may be, wherever it may take you. Let us have an acceptance of ourselves and each other to the degree that we may be individual and that we may have presence for people who are lacking in their own individuality. That you allow it to occur, that you do not get caught up into it. There's this, it's almost like a psychic wave of things, It plays in the psychology of all things, of all life. And it washes through people. And very often people will just get caught up in that and they will begin to identify with it. And rather than seeking a resolution to it or being present through it, they will identify themselves with it and just become a manifestation of that particular feeling or prevalent thought that is existing within society. And this is a bit of magic. This is a bit of the way that it works in society and in all things as a human being, and the consequence of consciousness that exists within a human being. The consciousness itself is a oneness, and it is kind of trying to figure itself out a little bit. And a bit how it works in so many ways. This consciousness will manifest these polarities between things for a conversation to be had, for a dialogue to occur, for information to be shared. But very often we fall prey to this type of a thing, where I'm going to identify myself with this ideology or this belief or this thing or that thing, this side or that side. It will create division between people. And we begin to identify ourselves with the division. And we begin to look at people as others. And we begin to form hatred within our heart for our ideas that perhaps are not our own, that we have not come to of our own being, that have been fed to us. We become this passive thing that is reactionary and that begins to dictate itself through that reactionary experience to a further division and a further polarity. And that is much of what you see in this world. People who do not have a self of their own, have not developed it of their own, line up on one side or the other, begin to point fingers, begin to facilitate abuses upon one another, even if just within your own being, or within their own being, our own being. And this is very counterproductive to what your life is. It's just a bit of a distraction to build this creation that would like to subvert your will, that would like to make you something that is just a servant to something that you do not know. So instead of doing those things, let us have acceptance for what is occurring, and for those who are living in such a reactionary state. And let us be aware that this can happen within ourselves as well, and that we must be vigilant and present throughout that process, in that experience, and begin to envision, begin to develop this sight for ourselves, that we may see beyond, and be able to discern what is good for an individual, what is just, what is right, what is true. What are you? How do you fit into things? And perhaps you do not fit into them so well. And let us have acceptance for that as well. It is a very funny thing that we do. The way that we develop hatred within ourselves. And we have to be able to understand that you are not separate from I. As much as you may disagree with me, or as much as I may disagree with you, you are allowed that experience. And if I allow it to be so, it will have a beneficial end of my own if I maintain of my own being. If I foster within myself that I am sacred, and that I foster within myself that I am not separate from you, then you are sacred. It serves me to allow of you that you experience yourself. And so very often, what I see within humanity, human beings are not willing to stand on their own. You want to find shelter, you want to find safety within this ideology or that ideology, that this is the villain, this is the one who is doing wrong, it is not I. And we diminish ourselves. We make ourselves infinitely small whenever we do that. It is just a bit of fear that you could be that thing that perhaps you have disdain for. And that is the truth, that you are it. That what is the most horrible thing that is occurring within a human being? It is yours. It is a part of you. You are not separate from it. That is the way of things. That is the nature of things. There is not much of an argument to be said of it. But we can grandstand, we can sit in our high place and we can think little of others. And it makes ourselves small. So if you're existing in this world, and you are having this difficulty perhaps where you do not belong anywhere, or perhaps you find yourself on one side or the other side, let us have presence enough for that we can step back and we can really look at things and really envision for ourselves what is good and what is right and what is true, and build a basis from that place. Not your ideology, not this ideology of here, not this ideology that has existed forever as far as we can know, in one way or another. This subversive type of a thing where a human being wants to put power over another human being. Let us look at that honestly, and let us investigate what is the way through that. What is the way forward? What can I become of my own being that will present a better way forward than being unconscious and reactionary to your environment? And it is not easy. It is not easy. We all have a unique circumstance in which we are tasked with overcoming. It is very difficult to have acceptance for all things that are good for you and that are bad for you, that are harmful to you, that are blessed to you. Things you do not agree with, things that do not agree with you. Can you find the love within it? That is the entirety of the conversation. Can you find love within it? Can you find a basis within your own nature that will show a way forward? And I'm not here to tell you what the answer is. I'm not here to hand you an ideology. I'm not here to tell you who the bad guy is and that you are the good guy and that, yes, it is okay. You are the good guy. Just point your finger over there, yell and scream. That is not what I'm doing here. I do not care to do such a thing as that. Let us point the finger inward. Let us look at ourselves. Let us truly investigate our nature. What does it mean to be a human being? Find your answer within that, and you will be blessed. And for all things that are counter to it, should we hold on to it and create a big fuss, a big argument between each other? Should we take up arms? Should I do violence upon you? And it is not such an easy answer to say yes or no. And that is a part of it. Look within yourself. What is right? What is true? Put down the condition. Forget everything that has ever been told to you. Forget everything that you have ever aligned with. What is good? What is bad? This one over there, he is not right. That one over there, he is good and true. Let go of all of that. Alone in a room, nothing but darkness surrounds you. Who are you? Find that out. Understand that. Have acceptance for it. And nature will provide a way from you. Nature will provide the way for you. And let us understand. Let us have understanding. Let us have a coming together of things. That there is a process that is unfolding that is going to point out your contradictions and the contradictions that exist over there in that other. That will be happening too. But we must be accountable to ourselves and understand the other is you. Or perhaps let us just make ourselves small and hide away in fear, or take up arms upon each other, commit atrocities because it is easier than understanding yourself as whole and complete, as a part of all things, and that this all things, the nature that is within, the nature that is occurring in all things, has a purpose and a will that is benevolent and good and waiting for you to participate in your own empowered nature, that all things may be blessed by you. And let that be enough for us. Peace.